The time to be with us here today. My name is Peter Wakaba, and this, of course, is the second part of your conversation here on Farm Kenya. Now, as indicated before, we have guest here in studio, Dr. Boniface Akuku. He is a renowned digital development specialist and a farmer, as well as a data scientist with about 15 years of experience in digital transformation and AI technology. Now, Dr. Akuku has worked across the globe with various organizations like the World Bank, with the FAO, CalRO, and CalRO, driving innovation in agriculture. Now, his groundbreaking work has earned him prestigious awards, including the Climate Information Prize and the Africa CIO Excellence Award. Indeed, we're very honored to have him share his insights on harnessing technology for sustainable farming and development here today. Asante sana.
Thank you.
Quite a CV there.
Yes.
Not many people would associate this kind of CV, this kind of qualifications, this kind of accolades with farming.
Very true.
Build that nexus for us. How did you end up in this space?
Yeah, very true. I think, mostly when we go to school, and particularly when you go to higher levels of education, all you think is research.
Yes.
And all you think is academic. And maybe high-flying jobs,
yes,
which is a good thing to do. But having worked in the sector for the last 12 years, I noticed a gap.
Yes.
The major gap is that a lot of farmers are having problems, and particularly from production to market. And I used to think that there are no solutions that can solve these problems. But my experience has disapproved that notion. In fact, the amount of problem that farmers are having is equal to the amount of solutions we have in this country. The challenge has been that how then does farmers access these solutions? That's the challenge number one. So there's a gap between these solutions reaching farmers. The other gap I found is that most of this technology, when technologists or innovators build their technologies, they do them for farmers, but they never do them with farmers. So these technologies are foreign to farmers. And that's why there's low adoption and low application in practice. And even if you go today and tell farmers, this thing work, they will not believe it. So we decided to set up our own farm where we can now, because seeing is believing, where we can now actually show farmers, come and see it works. And then we're also trying to use a methodology we call the farmer playbook, where we want to build the farmer's voice back into technology development. Because some of the tools we also tested them, they are not designed for use for the farmers. So we're actually feeding back this information. But above all, is that everybody will eat. And the need for food is increasing. But how then do we produce more food with less land, with less water, with less chemicals, maintaining the environment?
Yes.
We need technology. And as a technologist and as an expert in the space, I realize it's important for me to actually take this into practical use. I can write books, I can publish papers, but how would that help real farmers? So agriculture is actually a priority to most African countries, including Kenya. But it remains just a priority. How then do we practically ensure that we use all this we have learned and proved in actual setup? And that's what drove me into doing this for myself.
Quite an interesting story there of transition, especially. So talk to us about the journey itself, where you are now. How big did you start? Did you start with 1 acre, 2 acres? What did it take to get to that point? Was it the land first, or after? All the questions you've raised and asked yourself. So how did you transition then from essentially academia to saying that we now have to walk this journey? And where did it begin?
Yeah, so during COVID, there were a lot less work. So we met with some friends of mine who actually had leased some lands in Kajiado. And as we were talking, they actually told us how it was not difficult to lease a land. So we started by leasing 10 lands, 10 acres. This is by 10 acres only. And because we didn't just wanted to learn the ropes. It's a new environment. It's a new venture that we're getting into.
Yes.
So we leased 10 acres. And for sure, we made losses.
Yes.
Because we didn't know some of the challenges. One of the challenges was actually water. So we were promised by the person who listed the land that there's enough water. But we could only do 5 acres out of the 10. So that means that we were not able to do, water was not sufficient. The second thing we realized was there's some pests. One of them is called tuta absoluta. We had not known how to manage this pest. Well, the theories and research has been done around managing tuta absoluta. But we know that applying this, what is on the book and what's on the ground is totally different. We follow the book, but still we were attacked. Because I think from practice, then you begin to learn that the reality on the ground and what in the books. So in that crop, we really didn't make much money. The second thing we did was market. Because that time the tomatoes, the few which were ready, and then we call the brokers as usual. And the brokers will promise, I'm coming. After 3 days, they'll all switch off their phones. So the time they're coming, your crop is already damaged because tomatoes are a perishable crop. I mean, you can't even wait for a week.
So in essence, what you're saying is you started kienyeji, as people would say.
Yeah, like everybody
at
would
the
start
level where other farmers
start.
Now, with those learnings and that experience, where did you go from there?
Yeah, from there were 2 options. Quit and do what you normally used to do, what you know best, or be resilient and ask yourself a question, is it that it cannot be done? I leverage on my experience having traveled across the world into many countries, Israel, and Europe, Netherlands, the US, California. And I've seen agriculture work in these countries. Now, remember, these are countries with very, very erratic climate, either too cold or too hot. We are talking about in a tropical climate. So the question is that how come these technologies work in those other countries, they don't work in our country?
Where the climate is harsh.
The climate is harsh, and here we have a tropical country. I've been to South Korea with 2 extreme climate. Nothing can even grow on the open. And they import less food than we import in Kenya. So then this motivated me and motivated us as a family to proceed on. So the thing I started doing here was that I actually audited all the processes. I used a technology in the IT world, we call it system thinking approach. System thinking approach, look at the systems, look at the processes. And then I started documenting what are the pain points, which were the failure points. And after I document all the failure points, I decided to say, what is the solution to address this failure point? So talk about water. So we ensure that before we get a land, we ensure the water is enough before we leave, because we're listening to that.
There is readily available groundwater.
And we pump it for 24 hours to ensure that you will be able to get water enough for your crop.
So either a dam, a river.
Actually, there are shallow wells just along the Wasongiro River. So just 50 meters you get enough water.
So that is cheap and affordable.
Cheap and affordable. But the challenge is not all the wells have sufficient water.
It's all the time.
It's all the time. So when you pump it for 24 hours and you pump through, then you can be sure that borehole has enough water, that well has enough water. So one thing we need to do due diligence, ensure that you have enough water. So we ensure that. The second thing was about, as I mentioned, pests and diseases. So this, we also again that how can you better manage it? So we combine both organic or biological control and conventional controls. And actually what's critical here was actually spraying on time and scouting, because if you just delay and you're going to be just wasting your money. So then we looked at also the aspect of market. The one of the thing a market that I said it depends on three points: the people use, the process you follow, and the product. So we ensure that we have the right people on the farm, we have the right, follow the right processes, and then we have the right product. And then now we deal with the market. And then now we say the brokers is the problem. So we bought our own trucks so that we cut off the brokers. And then we started now looking at where can we get the market. So we started talking to, until we got a market in Mudhurwa, where we now sell directly. And then also we started selling to other places, even to organized markets, because we had now quality product that could now be sent to supermarkets and food stores.
So just to sort of slow you down. After ensuring now you've done your due diligence, the second thing now is the quality of crop that you deliver.
Correct.
has to be premium.
Yes.
So how do you ensure that?
Yeah, that's what I say, the people and the process. So because you have workers who are doing this.
So you train them.
You train them, and you also select the right workers, and you also motivate them. So you motivate them, you train them, and also so that they are committed. You answer how do you answer they're committed.
So you also audit the way they work.
The way they work.
To ensure that there is a level that you can work.
But we also employ graduates as farm managers. So we don't just pick your cousin. Who's jobless.
So qualified people for
the right job. So you employ graduates as farm managers who ensure that the farm is well managed, and then also it's also managed well in the people, because sometimes you buy the chemicals, they get stolen, or they are not applied on time, or they are not mixed. Even mixing is a problem.
So I already see two challenges here. First is capital. Because you've talked about systems, you've talked about land, you've talked about water. You're now talking about employing people. So you need to come up with some sort of good lump sum to get you started at the very least before you're able to go to the market. And then secondly, management. As a person, you have to be a good manager. How did you fill those gaps?
So for capital, you start small. So like I told you, we started with 10 acres. And then we grew the acreage gradually. So you just start small with 10 acres, learn the rope.
And a lot of our viewers will tell you 1 acre is very large in tomato farming.
1 acre is very large. So I'm saying, because we had some capital, we could start with 10 acres. But now, for majority of the people, can even start with 1 acre. But 1 acre for horticulture, unless you're doing it as a group.
For breaking even.
As a group, because for you to load it on one truck, you need a minimum of 3 acres every time the truck comes. You need a minimum of 3 acres to load a truck. Because if you load half a truck, then you're not working. So I recommend at least 3 acres. To make sure that you actually, at any one time when the crop is ready, you can actually move to load one truck to move to the market. So start small, learn the ropes, document the challenges, and look at how do I also solve the challenges. So you can get expert opinion. You can partner with companies like Kilima Kika that now knows the ropes, and as not just telling you what you can do, but what they have done and what they are doing to date. So even if you want to visit, you can visit and see what's happening there. So that's another way. And then also, if you don't have your own systems, think about how do you leverage on another company, another organization, for example, about market. If you don't have your own truck, how do you take the market to them? How do you corporate market? So make sure that you identify who will buy the crop and at what. So the other thing I could also advise, if you don't have enough capital, then do what you'll call timed farming. So farm when the market is not glad. So but that one you need data. You need data to know when there is no glut, because that time then you don't want to take a risk of just taking your crop when the market is a glut, because you'll definitely not get profit.
So which then brings us now to the main issue today, which is essentially how you are able to utilize technology to give you an advantage in this market. And from the beginning, I know soil testing to figure out what to put where. Then the various things like weather, the pH of your soil, those sorts of things. Talk to us about how technology has played a role in your journey.
Very true, because as a technologist, and I've been actually the one in the driving seat and the pilot to see driving digital agriculture in Kenya and now in Africa. So technology has played a lot of role, because having known the value of technology, one of the challenges that most African farmers are facing is what we call blind farming. You wake up and throw your seed into the soil because it's planting time.
You actually decide based on what everyone else is doing and what your friends have said.
As it is. So that's what I call blind farming. That blind farming has a lot of trial and error and chance and luck. With the microclimate, and with the degradation in the environment and in the soil, the trial and error and chance and luck and blind farming is a very risky business today. So what we do is that, first of all, we know the value of soil testing. If you don't want to believe in science, then you can as well believe in witchcraft, which does not work anyway. So we know the value of science.
Yes.
So you test your soil. It looks costly, but it's 2,500 shillings. Both pathology for diseases and for fertility. And that's enough for you to know what is this soil suitable for the crop I want to plant. There is sort of what we call now dry chemistry.
Yes, so just a small aside before we go to the dry chemistry.
Yeah.
So how did you end up with tomatoes? What drove your decision?
What drove my decision is actually, for me, it is high value. Tomatoes, I wanted, you
so
can
market
grow...
dynamics.
Market dynamics. Could grow maize, could grow beans, could grow the cereal. But for me, I wanted to do agriculture as a business. Not as a, by the way, or not as a custom
building exercise.
Yes, yeah. So when you want to do agriculture as a business, because you can take that money and invest in the money market. You can take that money and invest in real estate. You can take that money and invest in whatever. There are several businesses. Agriculture is not the only business. But I wanted to do agriculture as a business. Now, when you do agriculture as a business, then you have to analyze return on investment. You have to analyze, you have to go for what we call high value crops. So high yielding, high value, but also high risk. So that's what drove us into this fairly quick return, because within 3 months you are selling your crops. So that's what drove us into tomato. We could have done it in any other way, but doing it as a business. So you have to really evaluate the various crops. You can do sugarcane, which takes 2 years, and you'll get 5 shillings per kilo. For after gross. And maybe a virtual bonus. And maybe a virtual bonus, So that's what drove us to tomato.
Okay, interesting. So we were at soil chemistry. Yeah, you said you tested and then now went to.
Yeah, we tested. Then we tested and we now knew what the land lacked in terms of whether there was a disease. For example, tomato is what called bacterial wilt, which is a soil-borne disease. So if you have bacterial wilt, then you better use variety which are resistant, or better don't do tomato at all. So that helps you know which the variety will you plant, and what nutrients do you lack. So that's one end. The other thing which is critical is climate. Because of macroclimate, climate change, of course we're doing irrigated agriculture, we don't depend on rain. So, but there's a misconception. Macroclimate is not just about rainfall, when the rain comes and when the rain will not come. Because if you're rain-fed, that's important for no onset of rain. But you're doing irrigated agriculture, that may not be very important, although it's still important. Because the changes in rainfall has implication on pests and diseases. The changes in temperatures has implication on pests and diseases. So we take the GPS coordinate of the farm, and using satellite technology, we constantly monitor the changes, the drastic changes in climatic conditions. One day we saw the temperature going to fall drastically, and we told our guys on the ground. In January, told our guys, they're going to fall, and this is going to bring blight. You have to do preventive. So they did preventive, and when we went, it was on a Tuesday, when we went to the farm on a Saturday, our neighbors had no crops because they were affected just by that change of temperature alone. The chill, So that's how, and you can only do that if you are using techniques like AI that can be able to predict the changes in temperature. So are these
service providers readily available there for farmers?
Readily available.
Is it a particular
readily available. So in Kenya, or in Africa, we have quite a number. Calro, where I used to work, has a platform called the KOP, the Kenya Radio Observatory Platform, which gives you which runs on satellite. KMD, Kenya Met Department, has really tried. They are also now posting those things on their website. We have weather.com by IBM. We have Ignicia. Which is very accurate. So they are really available. Some are free. Some are for subscription. Like the Calro one is for free, the one at KMD is for free, weather.com is free, but Ignicia is a paid, it's a subscription service. So you choose, if you have money, you can subscribe. If you don't have money, you can use the readily available. There's the advantage of subscription, because you can now geo-reference your farm, and now you have a company that can be attending to you, and because you might not know how to interpret these changes in climate. So if you know how to interpret, go for the free ones and interpret when the temperature threshold reaches a certain level, then I know this is what's going to happen.
Yes.
Now, the Caro is partnering with a company called Tomorrow Now, and they're doing that very well, where they're interpreting those for
data,
you,
yes.
and they're sending them as SMS. So you can register with Caro. They will give you they will see the weather forecast. Once your farm is geomapped, they will interpret them for you, and you will. If you feel you want somebody to tend to, you can call. You can go for paid up service like Ignitia. If you want a free one, go to weather.com, powered by IBM, if you know how to interpret.
Yes.
So depending on your level of education, your level of knowledge. So that is critical about now. Again, we have other companies, like this one Kilima Kika works with called Farm.ai,
yes.
where using satellite technology, they can tell you nitrogen zones, productivity zones on your farm. So, but they use 1 meter resolution satellite technology. The satellite data.
Wow. Yes.
That can only be found from commercial satellite, and you have to pay for it.
Yes, it's expensive.
Yeah. So, but then you are able to know, in my farm, divide the farm to a grid. Why would I apply fertilizer when this crop
already
does not need as enough nitrogen? Why? Sometimes you can think the crop is suffering because of lack of nitrogen, but it's because of water stress or drought or heat stress. So the platform is able to show you all this so that you know which treatment to apply to your farm.
So you're more knowledgeable, your reactions are more accurate, and you're able to utilize your funds more effectively.
And more so, somebody like you is working here.
Yes.
You can do your farm from your phone. And you can call the worker.
Yes.
I can go to this section of the farm and check what is wrong. Either it's disease stress,
yes,
or there is nitrogen. Or
without having to be physically
present. They will have to be physically present, yeah. But those are through subscription.
Only, yes.
So we have also partnered with Kabi,
yes,
where we're going to be flying drones. And I mean, because what we're looking for here is that we want to get regular data, which can now tell us on real time what's happening. And as we now move further, even installing weather station on our farm, and even probing sensors, which can now tell you what's actually happening on the ground. So technology, in a nutshell, is the way to go. So it takes you away from blind farming.
Yes. One thing which most people might not realize is that building this historical data of the microclimate around your farm and the soil conditions actually drives up the value, because any major investor who wants to come in then has all the data they need to be able to make a good decision.
Yes, Africans have never invested in data, particularly African farmers. And there's some talk about blind farming. Yes. And there's some talk about chance and error, chance and luck, this is about trial and error. Because for you to run these models, you need data.
Yes.
Even for you to know market, you need data. How has the market been the last 5 years?
Yes.
Which months do we have gluts? Which months do we have low shortages? The demand supply shift. One of our undoing is lack of data. Yes. So one of the things we've did for the last 3 years, this is our 4th year, we are building a rich database. Data on we're picking data on data on those climate conditions. Yes. Picking data on the market. So you need data, even if not for running models. Yes. It can give you an insight. Because when you see a trend...
Yes, in fact, it gives you trends over time.
Yeah, it gives you trend over time. Now you can tell now, with this kind of trend, now I know when to plant. I know which crops to put on. So we encourage actually building personal history or farm history. It's only to build farm history, because also for models to work well, they need historical data. Yes. You need that time series, what we call time series data. The more data, the better, and the more quality, accurate, the better. So we've been doing what we call empirical data. So empirical data is data from the ground, data from the actual happenings, and from experts. Yeah. So when we have empirical data, then we can now combine with data from satellite. We can now combine data from ground stations or the ground devices. Yes. You can now make very insightful decisions. Quality information.
We're starting to come towards the end of the show. And for me, one question which continues to emerge for me is there are millions of even young farmers across this country who do farming because it's what their parents did,
Yes.
who plant crops because that is what their parents did, and now they're doing it themselves. How would this conversation work for them? How can they start to utilize data to be able to make better investment decisions for their agriculture? Where do they start?
Yeah, first of all, they have to know the value of data. Then they have to know the value of leveraging modern technologies like AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning.
Yes.
They have to know the value. Now, they might not have to be the expert in that area. But as long as they have data, they can look for someone who is an expert in that area, who can now tell them how to engage in agriculture, not the way our fathers engaged, but as a business. And that's what I call mindset change. We need to change the mindset of how agriculture is viewed. Is it viewed as a cultural thing or as a business or as an enterprise? If you view it as an enterprise, then you value, if you want to open a shop, you will have to know how much do I need to buy the first stock? What's the profit margin? How long will this stock take to run?
Yes, but often a lot of people don't know that. If you go up country, you'll find people building shops, yet there are many other shops that have opened and shut nearby.
And that's why they're struggling. Yes, so to avoid struggling, they can leverage the power of data, the power of technology, emerging technologies, and also using this to now go make insightful decision. When I'm getting to it, what should I do? And that's why company like Kilima Kika exists. Because other than not just being a data-driven company, it is also this is a model farm where they've done this practically.
So as we wind up, so how easy would it be to reach you for those young farmers? You said you do trainings. Can they come in for demonstrations, those sorts of things? Are you on social media? How do they find you?
Kilima Kika is actually having experts. More than 4 graduates with master's degree.
Wow.
Actually, I don't even run it. I'm just the idea. I'm just the strategist and the brain behind it. I don't even run it. So the people running it. So we have a full dedicated team. We have a full dedicated team on the farm, so they can visit the farm. They will get a graduate who is over 10 years experience in horticulture. Graduated from Egerton University to 2013. We have a graduate on the farm. He will be there and the workers are there. We will train. We have, we actually now setting up a training center of excellence, research and innovation center in Kitengela, where we'll be now providing training for young people who want to engage in agriculture. We actually are technologists. We have data scientists in the company who are actually helping to run these models. We are actually starting to help a number of farmers. In fact, Busia County just called us to go and help them. So we can also go where these young people are. So they can reach us. We are on social media. We have an office at KMA Building, 5th floor. They can visit the office at KMA Building, 5th floor. There's a telephone number on the website. There's a website, kilimakika.com. They can go to the website. They will get our contact there. We have an office here in Nairobi. We have a site in Kitengela. We have a site in Kajiado, Mashuru. So they are a team of experts. Dedicated. We have actually we have 4 graduates, and 2 have master's degree. We have entomologists. So they are enough.
Okay, quite a large spread right there. Indeed, quite interesting and very insightful, and of course for a lot of people, real opening on the way they want the agriculture to go. So thank you very much, sir, for taking the time to talk to us. It has indeed been a quick but very interesting conversation. Of course, for the viewer out there, the fact that you can use technology